Yo, what's up guys? New guide video. And this is going to be slightly different of a guide than normally, because normally I always have like these specific guides. If I do a specific dungeon, I have a guide on fastest team GB12, the fastest team on DB12, NB12, SF, PC, all of those, R5. All of those have fastest guides, but they kind of all use the same rune sets. That also makes it more difficult to rune them for a lot of people because they don't have those specific runes. It also means that you have to keep switching your runes all the time. So every time I actually had like a bunch of Jasons. So I have Jason saved for my SF team, my PC team, my GB team, like all of them. I have a Jason saved. I switch back to the Jason the moment I want to farm the dungeon, and then I farm it for like month or two, and then I switch it. Currently, I'm still active on farming, but I'm slightly less active on playing, and therefore also slightly less active on wanting to switch runes all the time. So currently I had to rune my R5 because we have the free R5 in this weekend. So I was runing that up, and then I was like, hey, this is actually a guide that I never made, and that's actually very useful as well. What if I make the best teams that I can make, which are going to be slightly lower than the absolute optimal, while runing everything at the same time? So I will have my R5 rune, I will have a GB12 rune, I will have a Dragons 12 rune, I will have a Necro 12 rune, a SF10 rune, and a PC10 rune, and they are going to be speed clears. So technically, if you want to go for the least amount of units, if we just write it out, R5 I'm just gonna let kind of in the middle for now, but if we do this, if you want to use the least amount of units possible, it will look something like this, which is exactly not what I'm going to do. So in this case, we would have dot team. So let's write it out. It will be lushen, melia. I think we have to drag it somewhat more to the left. Yes. And we have sath, tatu. Then this one is just tricaru. Does this count? Tricaru? I think you kind of understand tricaru. It kind of works. Vert, tricaru, vert, and star, I guess. Or what people do is lushen, and then you can overlap that same lushen. For this is also tricaru and vert, and this is the lushen, melia, sath, tatu. Technically, this altogether is by far the easiest setup you can rune your whole dungeon team at. But by doing this, and then for you have BG5, that's just R5, it's not BG5, is whatever. You have your team over there. This would be definitely, like, if you're not that far into the game and you want to rune everything at the same time, I would definitely recommend to rune up this, because you can rune this, and technically you only need, like, you have 5 units over here, you have another 8 there, this one adds 1 more, so we're at 9. So technically with 9 units you can do all dungeons. But if you look at it, this would be like a 50-second, this would be like a probably 45-second, this would be like a 45-second, this would be like a, I think it's close to like 50 seconds or like even 55 seconds, and this one is like 45-second average. So all of those are averages. I want to make something like this, but faster. And the teams that I'm going to be using for that are going to be different. I'm going to be showcasing the teams over here, and then also showing what I will use. And the thing is, R5 has my best runes. So I'm going to keep R5 as I normally have R5 with the absolute best sets. So that already means that anything that I will use for any of the other dungeons, I will be slightly lowered on rune quality, and therefore also showing how it is to make these teams lesser rune quality than I normally do, because I cannot use my best rage set because they're on Baal. I cannot use my second best rage set because they're on Odin. A bunch of those things I just cannot use because those are locked in my R5. So that will be the video of today. I'm going to make this in 2 videos actually. One video is me showcasing all of the teams, what are the thresholds that you have to aim for, what are the specific things that you have to focus on, that one unit also fits for another dungeon. Because there's a few things I want to make this a lot faster. I think I can make this towards 25. I think this one could be, this one still will be kind of slow. It will probably go down to 40. This one will probably go to like 35, 40-ish. This one I can probably drag down to 25 to 30-ish. And this one I'm trying to drag down to 35 to 40. So those are the averages that I'm aiming for with all of this that I'm doing right now. it might be that you are 30-ish as well. So those are kind of the things that I'm aiming for faster teams. Is it needed to run those faster teams? No, not really. Also, I think in the description down below, I will also show like all of these, because I think I have, not on all of them, but I have some videos on all of these, like the simpler versions, and then I'll also do like separate videos. I think I have separate videos for most of the harder versions already, but I will definitely leave links in the description down below as that. But I also show all of the runes in this video. So that's going to be... The reason that I leave my best runes on R5 is because R5 needs most tuning to actually have working. And my R5 is very specific, and my R5 is very annoying to replicate. My R5, if you check this, it pretty much doesn't fill, and it's like 23-second average, like 23, 24-second average. It's very annoying to have to switch anything in this, because it works very specifically with Deborah and then Odin and like the team ups and this thing like armor breaking and stuff. So I don't want to really touch this. Plus, R5 is somewhat more dependent on which units you have. So I'm not really going to be focusing too much on R5 in here. But I will be mentioning a bunch of the units that I'm going to use in here, which are not those, that you can actually translate towards... Oh, wait, I'm not showing the notepad. That you can translate towards R5 as well, because I'm going to be using a bunch of units that you can translate to R5. So with that all set, we're going to remove all of this. And we are going to go one by one. And going to fill it in, rune it up, show it, and then come back to this part. So first team I'm going to do for this is a Lushen. We will have a Melia. We will have Ikaru. Now actually I'm just going to write out all of the teams first. Ikaru, Crow. That is the team I'm going to use for that. This team will be a third tricaru. So that will be using 2 of the Ikarus over here. And then I will be using a Astar. This team will be similar, but I will be using it with a Lushen. Thing is, I'm not sure. Technically, this would be a Rage one, and this would be a Vamp one if I want to use 2, but I might consider just using 1. I'm not 100% sure about that. PC team, I have something in mind, because you have the Julie team. This is going to be a team that I never actually run, so I'm also going to test it right now, and it might be something different than the initial result. But the fastest team you can have on this is Ikaru, Crow, and then Homu/Zeratul. Most people, most peasants like us, we don't use Zeratul, we use the homunculus. But this is technically the fastest team, but that means Julie has to one-shot. I'm not going to be able to make Julie one-shot if I have everything runed up at the same time, 100% not. But I actually thought of a replacement for homunculus to not have Julie be able to one-shot. For that part, you're going to be waiting till the end of the video and the end of the stream, because I have something in mind that can actually replace that. For SF10, I'm going to have a very strange team, and you're going to have to wait for that one as well, and also to the end of the stream, because that one is going to be something I haven't tried yet, and SF10 is by far the easiest dungeon to rune with just the dot team. Like 100% you can run this on a 10-day old, which you can, if you have the correct unit, you can run this on a 1-day account. You just need longer time to get the correct amount of 2As and that kind of stuff. But this is so easy to run that the dot team can run on a 1-day old account. Issue is, anything fast for this dungeon is a piece of shit to rune. It's absolutely the worst. So I'm going to try for a semi-faster team, while also using most of the units that are already used in here. And the one that is here, that is the X-Spot. So yeah, after a pretty lengthy stream, which will be also shown in a different video, I runed up all of my teams, and these are the teams that I used, which I have written in the notepad. So in this notepad, we have a bunch of things. So the first thing is we have Lushen, Melia, Ikaru, Crow. That team is doing around 27 second average. Man, stream has been long. So first team is, we have a bunch of things. We have Ikarus. Both Ikarus are willed, and they are 54 plus and 50 act plus. We have a Lushen that one-shots the waves. If you cannot one-shot the wave on Lushen, it is not an issue. This team is definitely something you do want to build, because it's a lot safer than any of the other teams out there. So definitely would recommend to run this team, and we can actually run it in the background while talking a little bit more about this stuff. So if we just bring this top left, where would it fit best? Top right, not really. Bottom left, Also not really bottom left. Okay, let's go for that. Slightly smaller. So yeah, this team is just very safe. There's a lot of stuff to it that makes it very safe because this melia can technically solo the boss. It can solo middle stage. Melia pushes back these waves, so even if your lushen doesn't one-shot, it's not that big of an issue. Whereas if your lushen normally doesn't one-shot, maybe you start getting some hits in, it starts getting annoying and that kind of stuff. And this crow, it's kind of dependent like how much damage a crow does to how fast this goes. But I have seen like 27-second average on this, which I would say is pretty freaking fast for a dungeon like this. So I would definitely recommend you to rune this as your dungeon team for giants. This one was a bit of a slower run, but I've seen it run like a full run of 10. It was about 27-second average. And I have a video on this specific team. Oh wait, did I mess up the lushen? I think I messed up the lushen. Ah, that's true. So there's one thing that I do when I do switch from one team to another, and that is switching out the artifact. So in the case that I want to farm this, I switch this out for a damage on water, of course. The moment I focus it on the other thing, what was the other thing? I also use this in NB12. And in NB12, of course, I switched it out. So therefore, it was a slow run because the lushen didn't one-shot. And of course, you want the lushen to one-shot. That's the main thing. And then you want a speedy lushen to one-shot. So those are the two criteria. And then it, of course, goes a bit faster. So let's quickly glance over the runes and then go into the next dungeon. So if we go over here, yes, sir, runes. So lushen, once again, it's the 223 lushen. And these are the stats that are needed for one-shotting waves, depending on what kind of artifacts you have, of course. These artifacts are not that great, especially right side artifacts, not great. But these are kind of the stats you need. Then we have for the melia that moves after the lushen, we have just a triple fighter. I made it 100 rest for whatever reason. Doesn't really need to be that, but it's just useful. Then I have my icarus, and I have icarus that are willed. Willed is needed for other dungeons at some point. In this one, it's not specifically needed, but since I'm not switching runes, I will have these icarus willed already. And I have fight runes to finish off with that. And for artifacts, you could go any route of like extra accuracy or extra anything. Then we go for this one. We also have the similar set. Same thing for having enough defense in there, having the right amount of speed. Accuracy is not fully maxed out, but it is fine for this. Then we have the crow. Crow is also 100% crit rate. And then the specific speed to just outspeed the waves and everything like that. Also in all other dungeons. And in this case, you would put damage on water on it. And I also have this for PC team. So therefore, it is damage on that. So we have that all runed. Someone asked why a 100% crit rate lushen. Because you want to hit the side crystals with 100% crit rate as well. Plus, this lushen is also used in other dungeons. So afterwards, I switched to NB12 to rune. Because for NB12, I only had to fit in one extra star. And I had to fit in a extra icaru. So that was the least amount of extra runing to switch runes and that kind of stuff. Plus, those were very different sets because we still used the same lushen. We used the same icarus. This is also why your lushen is a 100% crit rate because I want to use the same lushen. And in this case, I would use that lushen with a dark one out there. And then dark damage. Got a pretty nice one over there. Then we have one icaru that is extra in here, which is not this one, which is not that one, and that is this one, which is again a double fight set. You don't need all of those fight sets. Like a lot of people are going to be commenting on it, like I need so many fight sets to make this work, blah blah blah. Well, to be honest, I recommend all of you to just stay a month in like freaking Rift Raid and get a lot of fight runes because these fight runes are not that hard to get. But you don't need these many fight runes. It's just to speed up things. And then we have an Astar, and the Astar is a vampire Astar, which is the best thing for this right now. So when we run this, the main thing about this dungeon is you want to have lushen amputation magicking with enough damage to where he kills himself in the third wave. So that is the main name of the game, lushen has to kill himself. That is pretty doable, but he has to do the double amputation magic. If he doesn't do that, he still gets kind of low on HP to where he might die to this boss. So if he amputations on this boss, it's not that bad. But why do you want lushen to die here? That is because then all of these icarus always have the perfect team up with one another and a star rather than with the lushen. And the lushen is a single hit, whereas yeah, a star and that kind of stuff is just better, and they don't go for like single target attacks and that kind of stuff. So let's go over a run. Also, if this happens, it just makes the run a slightly bit faster. It doesn't make it fail. It's still 100%. All of these teams that I have here are 100%. The GB12 team is 100%. This team is 100%. It can run slower sometimes, but let's check another run to see if we can get a somewhat of a more smoother run. Can we get an amputation magic? Nope. Oh, ribs. Yeah, sometimes you know how lushen works, right? I don't really have to explain all too much on that. And then the amputation magic on the wrong wave. Yay! Well, if he teams up enough, he can actually get his amputation magic back for this wave. So, yep, he did. And then we have this one, which is the perfect team up. So we actually, with this, if she uses S2, we'll clear it in that stage. We go in again for a cycling, and then when the armor break hits, it pretty much dies. So this ends up in, as mentioned, around 30-second average. Maybe slightly bit more, kind of depending on what the lushen does. So that is the team for that. From there, we actually moved on to PC10. And for PC10, actually, I will have that in another video. I posted that one yesterday. So when you watch this on stream, I made this just now, but I posted this yesterday because that's the order of posting. And that's actually a very interesting team. And I really like this because you might say like, oh, this is the lushen or this is the Julie one-shot team that you showcased before, which I cannot build. No, it's actually not. This team is specifically built on the idea that your Julie cannot one-shot. So I removed this artifact and I changed something to the team, but I changed something very small, and which is this one actually has a different skill set. So instead of going for the skills that go, normally I have the S2 that does the branding and the slow, and the S3 for more dots. But in this case, I'm using a perfect AI setup for him to always use this S3. And this is actually a lot faster and very easy to rune as well, because, well, you don't need your Julie to one-shot. But this is still like probably close to twice as fast as using the tricaru, and it's a lot easier to rune. And this thing was really smooth in running. I will show the build later. Also, definitely check out that other video. That video will showcase more about it, like how that exactly works. Let's see if I just put it like this. But as you can see, this team is insane. This team run like 25-second average or some stuff. This is only a slightly bit slower than the Julie one-shotting team, which of course Julie one-shotting is a lot harder to build than this. But this is a lot easier to build and it's just very nice. So we have the S2 that's AoE with armor break and dot. And we have the S3 that's the AoE. So those are the main skills. And then the S1 is the one that hits 4 times and brings dots 4 times. That one is very important. So you do need a maxed out homunculus to do this. So with this, if there's enough dots, like as you can see, enough dots, he dies. Very simple. This is an amazing team. Like everyone is going to run this. Trust me, this team is... The strange thing is the previous team that I made for this, I made it like 3 years ago or something, like pretty fast after the Swift update. Afterwards, it was always just go one-shot Julie or go for tricaru. And there's nothing in between. There was... And the gap between Team A and Team B was an insane amount of rune quality. In this case, we actually prepped both of the Icarus already to have the whale runes. We prepped the Crow to also have whale rune already. And it just clears shit. This is by far the most amazing thing I've seen for like PvE in quite a while. This team is absolutely amazing. So let me zoom into the runes, like how that team exactly looks like. Because we got like 22-23 second average. That's even faster than what I wrote down, right? That's insane. So yeah, we have the Julie. This Julie has pretty good stats. I put a fatal set to it because additional damage and therefore you do a lot more stuff. But as you can see, I removed the artifact to not make her one-shot. If I put the artifact in there, I can one-shot her, and that's even while having all of my other shit runed as well. So you could check out like, okay, do I maybe have a fatal set that can make this work? But I think everyone should, you need to do at least like 80% of the damage on the left and the right crystal for your homunculus to pick up perfect AI and uses it at 3. So that is very doable. You don't need a crazy Julie like this for it, like not even close. Then we have the homunculus, and the homunculus I built in a, I think it's attack for damage attack on double shield. Double shield is kind of a must. You can do lower damage on him, definitely, but you do need that double shield in there, and you need that will runes. So for this one, I have additional damage artifacts, and this one is like minus light and up in light. Once again, for the skills, I will show the skill tree actually from here, because that's just easier to show the skill tree. If we go from here, skill tree for this homunculus, We have the one at the bottom, as I mentioned before, with the multi-hits on S1. Then we go for the one on the top, which has the death break and the continuous damage. Maybe you could go for this one, but I actually noticed that this one is pretty chill. And then this one is just the one that is the one-shotter, the S3. And that has to be the AoE one. If you take this one, this is a single target. Like all of the other S3s are single target. You need the one with AoE. So that is how that works out. And it's an amazing team. If we go back to this team and we can check the other units. Well, the other units technically you have already seen. The other unit is just the Tricaru with a will rune. Another Tricaru with will runes. And then Crow with will runes. And technically you want to put damage on light on this right now. And that kind of stuff. So you definitely need the shield runes because your Crow is going to be squishy and your Crow is going to be tanky the first hit, which could be the single target hit that does quite a lot of damage. So we have that done. Then we can scroll down to the other team. One more scroll down. Yes, we have a star team with DB12. So in this case, the only thing that I had to change was adding an invert. I also checked, technically you could say like, okay, I built a second Astar, which isn't a star on rage. But with a star, I had a 40-second average. Without a star, I had a 42-second average. So it's slightly faster to put that a star in. Plus, you already have that a star built for NB12. So technically, that kind of works. If you have good enough runes. If you don't, you just have to go for the third tricaru team normally in there. It doesn't get any much faster than this. That's the simple way to go for it. I could let this run, but to be honest, I think you kind of know how this dungeon runs. So I don't really have to run it, right? So then we have the final thing. And I tried a bunch of shit. But to be honest, it's just the dot team. And I'm not going to let this run because I'm just so despised by this team that I don't even want to run this. I tried a bunch of stuff and that was actually my first idea as well of runing. I didn't come up with the homunculus idea right away today. That was actually not my first idea whatsoever. Because my first idea of today was actually running a Julie combined with a Gina. And I wanted to use Gina as one to add more dots towards the boss of PC10 and therefore also clear it. Technically, these two have perfect AI in here. But as you have seen in plenty of my other videos already, perfect AI on that stuff it doesn't work. It's like you have perfect AI, but the issue is you still have a 15% chance to not land this. You could add in the fire lizard to make it like better, but then you still have the issue. You have to land armor break on the middle boss, and then you also have to clear that. This team is just absolutely bad. Like anything else is just bad. Anything else that someone showed that's probably decent has a big RNG factor. This team is this dungeon is the biggest issue with RNG factors for both, landing your buff block or anything like that. Yeah, I've seen a team with Ling Ling and Brandia. That team can kind of work. Like, to be honest, you can just put like Lushen, Ling Ling twice, and then Lauren, and then a Brandia. It kind of works, but the issue is A, it needs very good runes, and B, it's still RNG as fuck. So in the end, the best thing to rune for this right now is still this, until we get the balance patch or whatever, or I find another video that actually does this. But I already legitimately have like 6 or 7 videos on attempting a team on this and failing. So to be honest, today I didn't really feel like spending that much time on running this. Plus, I had a very good win in PC for making an insane team in PC, so I can take the lose on not making a good team in SF. Maybe in a future video, who knows. But yeah, with that, I pretty much have all of my dungeon teams runed, while still having all of my raids units runed as well. So I can currently run all of the dungeons at the same time with pretty fast times. So we have this, if we check all of the times combined, we would have this one that was around, I think I said, yeah, 27 sec. We have this one that was about 40 sec. We have this one that was a 30 seconds. I think it's slightly longer than 30 seconds, but okay. We have 25 seconds, and then we have shit team. Yep, this. So actually with all of this video, or actually with making this video and all of the work today, I made all of the dungeon teams, and then my R5 is 23 second average. So I currently have all of this runed at the same time. And that also means like some of my videos that I made, I'm just throwing like absolute best rune quality at stuff. Maybe some of these teams that I ruined right now are a lot easier to replicate, especially this one. This is one that everyone is going to love and everyone's going to make 100%. Then you could also say like, okay, I want to rune everything as you at the moment, but I don't have the rune depth. Yes, this video is very much showing that I have a certain rune depth, that I can rune like multiple sets of everything. Like, but it also shows like, okay, I have a whole bunch of lap over units that I don't need multiple sets to. Also, as I mentioned at the start of the video, these were the easiest units and you only need like 9 units and you have like the whole thing runed for everything. Also, my R5 is very specific, but for example, things that you could do is having the right team. You could use the Crow in there. You could use an Tricaru in there. So those are 2 units because they already have will. They already fit towards R5. I don't use them because I don't need them. But those are definitely units that you could say like, okay, those fit. You have a Vert, you can use that one towards here as well, like in the team with like a Freya or anything like that. So you have a bunch of units already ruined. You could even use the Astar. So technically 4 units that you have ruined on your damage sets, you could technically fit in your R5 team as well, that I currently don't use in my R5 team. Because actually in my R5 team, I use none of the units that I use in any of the other dungeon teams. But those are 4 units that you can definitely add up in here. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is for this video. So this is a full guide of all of the dungeons combined at the same time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Also, if you have any like ideas for SF10, which probably no one has because I've been asking for a while. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you haven't yet, a like and a subscribe is very much appreciated. And see you in the next one.